Here's a question. What's more fun, a draft like last year where the number one pick is obvious, or a draft like this year where we have no idea? Well, if I was an NBA GM, I'd probably take Zion, but since I'm not, I love this question. Who will go number one? Let's be real, it's only gonna be one of three guys: Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, or LaMelo Ball. And the answer? It depends. Different teams have different needs, and all three of these guys provide different skills. In this video, we're gonna run down the realistic teams who could take it number one and figure out who they would take with the first overall pick in the 2020 draft. Hey, it's Casey, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel and the AM Hoops podcast, by the way. Go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit subscribe and notification bells. We still don't have NBA games, although we are trending in that direction, then eventually the NBA draft. And the question is, who will go number one? Well, before we jump into the teams with the highest current draft odds, I gotta say this. No trades in this video. Yes, it's a weak draft and it makes sense to flip the number one pick for future assets, but that's not the point of this video. I will mention if a team might trade down, but there's no point in talking who would be number one if they could just trade out. So here are the current lottery odds for now. Cavaliers, Timberwolves, and the Warriors each have the best odds at number one at 14%. The Hawks at 12.5%, the Pistons at 10.5%, the Knicks 9%, the Bulls have a 7.5% chance of picking number one, and the Hornets at 6%. But remember, last year the Pelicans were in the Hornets spot and they picked number one. And I think these will stay the percentages for the draft lottery. I do not think they will play out the regular season at Disney World. I think they go straight to the playoffs. If anything, they involve the 9 and 10 seeds for a play-in tournament, but that won't affect any of these draft lottery odds. So let's start at the top. 14% chance of picking number one are the Cavaliers, and they would take LaMelo Ball. The Cavs take LaMelo here despite already having a loaded young backcourt in Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, and Kevin Porter Jr. In reality, they're set in the front court too, though. They've got Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, Larry Nance Jr. What they don't have at any of those spots is a young star. And look, I like Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, but they do not have star potential. Yes, Sexton played well at the end of the year. He averaged over 24 points per game since January 1st, but that makes him a good candidate to trade. Yes, the Cavs should trade Colin Sexton while his trade value is still high. Draft LaMelo Ball. Ball can score and he can facilitate, something that Colin Sexton and Darius Garland, for that matter, haven't shown that they can do. He's got elite court vision. Plus, do you remember how frustrated Kevin Love was that Colin Sexton wouldn't pass? The Cavs get three big things here with LaMelo Ball: a facilitator, a star, which they've needed since LeBron, and whatever they could get back in the Colin Sexton trade. Our next team here, also with a 14% chance, is the Timberwolves. They take Anthony Edwards. This is a perfect example of a team that would trade down from number one. They already have a primary ball handler with D'Angelo Russell. Their front court is set, but since that's not what this video is about, they take Anthony Edwards. He's got the biggest defensive upside of the three potential picks. And the Timberwolves were the fourth worst defensive team in the West. Karl Anthony Towns' defense has always been suspect. Now they brought D'Lo in. Edwards has the physical tools to be a great defender, and while yeah, he takes the ball out of D'Lo's hands sometimes, having two ball handlers works, and D'Lo is effective as an off-ball shooter. And the last team with the best odds at number one are the Golden State Warriors at 14%. They take Anthony Edwards. Now, first off, we've got the rumors that they would take Edwards, which is great, but why is he their pick? Well, we know that James Wiseman is a big and the Warriors have a backcourt already, so he seems like he'd be a good fit, but we never got a chance to see if Wiseman could play at an NBA level. Yeah, Wiseman might be a better fit in the long run, but the Warriors' window is now. Edwards could contribute right away, and actually he is a sneaky good fit here in Golden State. His role would be the Andre Iguodala role, a secondary ball handler with the second unit. They are not a deep team, and someone who can shoot threes, drive the paint, and play defense. They have needed that Iggy replacement, and Anthony Edwards could be that for this team. And whoever they take here, if they take and don't trade down, That rookie is in such a good place. I mean, think about it. A winning championship culture, defense first, which is a winning mentality. Spurs, Warriors are like that. And there's not a whole lot expected of him, so he can learn. I do think that they are a legit chance to trade down, but if not, I think Anthony Edwards is the pick. The second best odds to get number one are the Hawks at 12.5%. They take Anthony Edwards. Now, I think the Hawks are the biggest candidate to trade out of number one. They have a rim runner and a big who can shoot threes, Clint Capella and John Collins. So Wiseman doesn't make a lot of sense. They don't want to take the ball out of Trae Young's hands, so why take Edwards or LaMelo Ball? They would likely trade down, but if they don't, Edwards makes the most sense. Last year, the Hawks prioritized defense, taking DeAndre Hunter at 4th overall. They were still the 3rd worst defense in the NBA, not close to the playoffs. Edwards' defense is a huge asset, just like in the Timberwolves example. Yeah, they love Trae Young. They would never admit they should have taken Luka Doncic, but Trae's defense is so bad, they have to spend a lot of draft capital to make up for it. Another option here would be to trade John Collins, who thinks he's a max contract guy after next season, and draft James Wiseman. If the Hawks don't agree with Collins on his salary, they could get assets and replace him with Wiseman. I think, though, they end up compromising with John Collins and they take Edwards instead. Next up, the Pistons, a 10.5% chance of picking number one, and they would take LaMelo Ball. Let's be honest, the Pistons need absolutely everything. They take LaMelo Ball, and they not only get a talented player who will be fun to watch, but they get a potential star. Pistons fans haven't had a whole lot to be excited about. They had Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin, but haven't won a playoff game in 13 years. They traded Drummond for almost nothing, and they would probably want to get rid of Blake Griffin too to get the rebuild going. If you're a team that needs everything, take LaMelo Ball. Hope he hits on both talent and star potential. Next up, the New York Knicks, 9% chance. They take LaMelo Ball, and it's not even close. Remember all those teams that are probably going to trade down? Well, this is the team on the other side of that trade. The Knicks are desperate for some good basketball news, and the new front office guy, Leon Rose, will make his mark here. I think the Knicks take LaMelo Ball for his star potential and his fit. The Knicks also need everything, but point guard was a huge problem. They used at least 4 different starting point guards this year. Frank Ntilikina, Dennis Smith Jr., Elfrid Payton. They even tried RJ Barrett. LaMelo Ball would solve a position they've been bad at for a long time. Drafting him would also put the biggest potential star at MSG. Now, personally, I think teams who take a star because he's a potential star are just really poorly run teams. Like, they may have won draft night and not get booed by their fans, and it feels good when the season opens. But once the losing comes, they'd rather have the boring but better guy from that draft. But LaMelo Ball is different. He is super talented. His court vision, passing, and scoring, all amazing. Did you see this insane no-look move in the NBL? Ball is a legit potential star. He fills a need, and the Knicks will look at no one else. Next up is the Chicago Bulls at 7.5%. They would take Anthony Edwards. This is another trade down team because they're set in the backcourt and in the front court with Lauri Markkanen, maybe, but definitely Wendell Carter Jr. I think Anthony Edwards is the pick here, though, again because of his defense, but also because he is listed as a shooting guard, so he's more able to play alongside Kobe White and Zach LaVine. There's only one basketball, and they'd have to work out who takes a back seat, but LaMelo Ball clearly would not be a fit. Anthony Edwards could give them a defense-first option, which they don't have, but again, they are candidates to trade down. And the last team we're looking at is the Charlotte Hornets at 6%. They would take James Wiseman. I'm not saying they're set in the backcourt with Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. Those are not potential all-stars. But this pick does mean that they have talent needs everywhere, and Wiseman could make a core of Devontae Graham and PJ Washington going forward. Their center depth right now does not have a lot of upside. Wiseman could be an upgrade over Cody Zeller, who starts right now. And Bismack Biyombo is about to be a free agent, so their depth is taking a hit, potentially. Charlotte is a good place for any rookie to go initially because there's not a big spotlight and so not a lot of pressure. I think Wiseman makes sense as a fit. So what we learned here basically is that Anthony Edwards is the most likely #1 overall pick because it depends on who picks first, and Anthony Edwards fits more places, followed by LaMelo Ball and then James Wiseman. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.